Oopsie daisy. Thanks. Whee! Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. This will be a very quick intro. So, Azuka here. I'm bringing to the APAC finals between YYY and SKT. So this will decide the champion of the APAC, and then these guys, both of them, will be able to go for the Eastern Eastern Conquerors title against the China mainland region. Uh, which I did get to see a little bit from. So we got the JX and the BZZW. Fortunately, I don't have the full name. Anyway, I do hope that we do get to see an exciting performance. I am on a very strange. I am on a 3 minutes delay. So those of you that entering, and of course, I also have um, and also I will be well, hopefully I will be commentating with the guys from Booming Tech. Hopefully that all ends up well and done, but regardless, I'll be doing my best to commentate for this tournament, and I hope you guys enjoy the show. So, very quickly, probably gonna end up repeating this if it does come down to it, but we did get. Oh, oh, we did get the pick ban for YYY versus SKT, YYY scoring a 4, SKT scoring a 2. So YYY bans first, Kuruk Castle, and then SKT bans Bai Lu, otherwise, White Elk Fort. YYY chooses Hailong Fjord. Hailong Fjord is a very classic map. Hidden City is also a very classic map. At this point, every single map is a classic map. The other interesting thing here is the main line infantry getting banned. We have the Sunward Phalanx, the Silidars, and the Lancelots all getting banned, but YYY bans the Sunward Phalanx and the Silidars, including the Halberdiers. But they safe picked the Companion Cavalry, considering that SKT banned out the Yan Yudao Cavalry and the Zhuangzi Heavy Cavalry. It's a wonder that they probably would have probably banned out the next best cavalry, which is companion cavalry, but there's still the option of Daggerak Lancers, which are pretty strong. The safe pick on the Halberdier Sergeant could tell you that they're probably not going to rely on the Imperial Pike Guards, and the ban on the Lancelot Knights could also show that I mean, this is a very hard mix-up for all these bands. I'm expecting a lot of Iron Reapers. Could see Wu Wei pick up the slack here. Other things like ISGs and Palace Guards could see high usage, but Halberdier should be the main filler here. But yeah, those are the pick bands for now. Hopefully, I don't forget about this stream either as I switch between everything. Alrighty. Yeah, I'm here. Okay. Live in a minute and a half. Okay. Will that also include going through the pick bands? Our discussion on the pick band is fairly interesting, but yeah, okay, that's fine. Also, am I meant to be going in to observe the match, or am I watching the match off of something else? Because I'm in the observer thing right now, but I don't have the password to go into the match to see it as a spectator. So I'm just wondering how we're dealing with this. I actually have 3 screens, so I have one for my stream, one for the Zoom talk right now, and one for the game. All right. Hopefully he recognizes that I am on the SKT team and puts me down for the spectator.
Warlord,
Ah, this should put us alive now, but
Ba ba dum bum.
okay, 1 minute countdown.
I like neat square stone. Happy to talk.
Can you see the countdown?
On. I can't see. What
44
screen am I looking
seconds,
at? Sorry.
43 seconds, 41 seconds.
Longtang is rich in product.
Because I can't. Yeah, I can't see this screen for.
Okay, 15 seconds.
Okay. Just cue me in. I'll
10
be quiet.
seconds. Hey, what's up, guys? It's Yuan again. Today is gonna be an APAC final. It's gonna be YYY vs SKT, and we are honored here to be co-casting with Azaki. Azaki, could you please introduce yourself a bit?
Hi, my name is Azakai. I'm glad to be invited here to co-cast with Porus Interactive and Booming Tech. So thank you very much for that. But just a little bit about myself. I've been playing since the end of Wrath of Nomads. And funnily enough, I actually started playing it the day before it came out of early access. And I have commentated for most of the tournaments up until, well, all the way up until now. So I'm really excited to commentate for the CBL again. It's been about a year since the last one. I've also been part of a house called Rising Phoenix. If anyone knows about the English house on Lotus Ash Sea, the Rising Phoenix is apparently notorious for being called the English newbie house, where we get beaten up a lot.
That's very cool. So regarding to this match, do you have like any predictions?
Well, I honestly think that it could be interesting, considering that a lot of the the mainstay infantry got banned out. The Phalanx, the Silidars, and the Lancelot Knights probably will see a lot of the Iron Reapers, and probably we'll probably see the Wu Wei make another return. We've seen a lot of Wu Wei get picked up now and again. They can be quite devastating, and they're very strong, to say the very least. But I'm kind of scared to see what kind of mess the companion cavalries might do. They're the largest cavalry unit we've ever seen. 27 models, by the way. Um, Only the Chevaliers would technically have more models than them for a cavalry unit, but that's only because of the retinue system, allowing the 14 or 15 unit model combined with the 18 or 20 for the Courtiers. But I'm quite interested to see how both of the teams handle the pick bans for. Uh, sorry, how they change their lineup for the pick bans.
And we can also take a look at the vote results on our Discord. So 60% of players voted SKT and 40% of players voted YYY. Let's see.
I am also voting for SKT. I do think they are stronger on the
They are indeed
performance.
a very powerful team.
They are, yeah, they definitely showing have a better showing than I would say YYY in this case. Not to say that YYY is not a strong team. I do expect YYY to give SKT a hard fight. At least maybe
So
one
fortunately, we
one
are going
victory.
to the grassland.
So this is YYY's pick, fighting on Hailong Fjord. So we do get to see YYY starting first.
Mm-hmm.
They're split up between the
And
two. They're split up between the two A and the B point entrances right now, pushing both the battering rams slowly.
we can actually see the units they bring in the difference.
It is majority tier 4, amazingly enough. YYY
Yeah,
has
tier 4 on the
800.
YY side.
Just look at the number of just the sheer number just like dwarfs that from SKT here. But we'll see if the tier 5s from SKT can make up the difference. Key units like the Siphonatis and the Zykeelian Militia are normally pretty much game changers. They can really decide a fight quite quickly when they
Mm-hmm.
start throwing their bombs or shooting their fire. Not that I actually saw any Siphonarioids in the beginning section, but definitely
Mm-hmm.
does look like plenty of Zykeelian Militia. Should be fairly difficult to resist their Hellfire. Instantly lights any unit on fire, even if they've got fire resistance. Makes it very difficult to fight.
Mm-hmm.
Pushing through the wall break on the B side. Both sides, in fact. SKT does want to fight both. Looks like a little bit of a chase for SKT as YYY kind of rotates around, pulling SKT out of position, which is a good move here. YYY has a lot of Wu Wei on the B side. Alberdiers does make a setup. It wouldn't be wise for the Wu Wei to sacrifice themselves to go into the phalanx formation. Normally outranging the Wu Wei is a very good tactic, but Iron Reapers clean up that pile fairly easily. We do see a Winged Asar charge coming through, but doesn't look like to be effective at all. Wu Wei comes in the rear, cleaning up what seems to be a Iron Reaper. Looks like the Iron Reapers are getting cleaned up by the Wu Wei here, but no
It's a
headway on
slaughter.
the A side. With the supply point also getting taken. I did not realize that YYY had so many units on the supply point here. But 2 companion cavalries come out and a Iron Reaper.
A walk in the park!
Lots of fights on different angles. B point's going to get taken by YYY. I do believe it would be smart for SKT to make a retreat. I can't really say who's making any headway here. It's been much of a trade. Just going to be losing ground right now. We could see YYY continue their aggression and catch up. Does look like a complete rout here as YYY just streams on through with units.
Wow.
The companion cavalry looks ferocious as just the sheer number of them just gets on top of the retreating SKT. SKT throws in a Cordelia, but doesn't look like it's going to make much of a difference as just the swarm of YYY collapse onto the retreating side. Honestly, the advantage right now for YYY could push them all the way into that supply point. Or maybe not. We've got some Imperial Pike Guards already out. And Zykeeling Militia actually choking them off at that point.
Wow.
Surprisingly that they slowed
Very
down.
well played.
Good play, good play. Good route as well. That charge across the bridge looked amazing. And it's great to see that teams take advantage of the position that they're in. Though I was surprised that all of the members from YYY switched over to the A side.
Our reinforcements are attacking from
In
the
my
harbor.
opinion, it's normally very wise to put pressure on the enemy by just pushing the side that you're on. So if you're on the B side, you should just push straight up or towards the C section. If you take the A, you would push up normally towards the special D point? I'm not sure what to call it. It doesn't actually have a symbol besides a strange horn thing, so I never know what to call it. The harbor, the berserker spawn. These guys are just AI controlled berserkers, fairly easy to take care of. I don't think it has very much impact on the match, but it can be a nice bait to catch out maybe a unit or two if they push too far forward. Now with the C point being captured, we got 8 minutes 30 seconds to go for the home base. Taking a quick look at the unit losses. YYY does seem to have more units available, as in terms of like actual number of units.
Absolutely. And in quantity as well.
Definitely in quantity. The tier 4 almost double that of SKT. Surprising to see some Balconetti gunners shooting down. It's always very difficult to say how powerful Balconetti gunners can be, but they're quite annoying. They're pushing YYY out of this lower section and probably making it difficult to use the mortars, which is really good. But SKT is also using some great mortars here. Hard hits from both sides. With the damage mounting up, it's, well, since we don't get to see the damage very much on the units, it's very hard to tell which side has taken more damage, but besides just looking at just the number of units dying.
And there are still 9 trebuchet left for YYY.
9 trebs, yeah. They only use 7 so far. Once they're on the base point, you're gonna have to watch out for any engagements. Those trebs can be super devastating. One of the most difficult part about Heilong Fjord is the base point. You can't really fight on top of there because the trebs will easily delete everything, and a hard treb could spell the end for SKT. So that's probably why they're defending this lower section as much as possible. If they lose this supply, they would be forced to fight on the base point. But as long as they're kind of in this low ground section, they're protected by the 2 houses, the long house and the A-shape house. Kind of coming to a close of a couple of the mortars. So that first section of mortaring seems to have ended. Both sides are kind of sizing each other up. They're raring to go. Who's going to make the first move? That Imperial Pike Guard looks like it wanted to, but it pulls out in the end. We might see a second section of mortar come out. There's still 6 artilleries available for YYY. YYY should be in a stronger position, but I guess... Oh, Men-at-Arms touch the supply point. We got the companion cavalries from SKT, cleans up the... Now we got the main kickoff. Imperial Pike walks from both sides. Cavalry just going straight in. infantry barely survives. But it does look strong for SKT. Unfortunately, their supply point actually not looking very strong. I didn't realize how many units just pushed through from that bridge section. But as long as that supply section is locked up, any heroes that die from YYY is going to respawn with new units very close. SKT should probably look to cut their losses as they're probably losing the fight on the supply point anyway.
Wow.
Here comes the...
Another wave of companionship.
Indeed. Into the backs of... Oh man, that was quite strange, but they do clean up the infantry pile. And as I expected, a couple of the heroes now just going straight onto the base point with a terrifying lead for YYY. I don't think... Wow, companion cavalry just killing each other, but more companion cavalries and a winged hussar just charging up. Didn't hit. I don't think it hit anything, but this point is completely surrounded by cavalry right now, and they're just throwing it into the spawn point here. They're even trebbing their own people. Instantly getting cleaned up. Heroes from SKT can barely get onto this point. Companion cavalry just instantly delete that short sword. Does look like YYY is going to take the first battle from SKT. A very strong performance from YYY, using the cavalry to their advantage and definitely catching SKT off quite a bit.
Wow, what a match.
Very fast as well. Cavalry,
Yeah,
when cavalry
fast.
starts running in, it's always just a lot of units start dying. Whether or not it's the cavalry or the infantry. Well, I mean, there could be also a lot of cavalry versus cavalry. I like to see the companions just swarm at each other. It's actually quite cool to watch.
Yeah, let's see the post-battle analysis.
It surprisingly looks not that bad for SKT. They did put up a really good fight. I thought they might have been a bit better in kind of stabilizing in the midsection, but surprisingly, YYY just kept them questioning themselves. They win on one section, they lose on another section. So YYY is just pushing their advantage when they get it, and it does seem like SKT can't really force YYY to take a proper fight, since they're fighting on too many different angles. So I guess that's
I
part
think
of
the
YYY's strategy.
Yeah, I think the encampment at the bridge was a game changer.
Oh, definitely. The retreat didn't look very good in the first part, and it was quite surprising how fast the respawn coming in from SKT was. Companions just went straight across that bridge and catching a lot of slow units. Whether or not it was the Medals, the Iron Reapers, they have some of the slowest movement speed in the game at only around about 4. I think it's 4.4 for Medals and 3.8 for Iron Reapers. Companion Cavalry can have something like 11 speed, or even higher with the speed buff from their special trait. I don't expect infantry to be able to outrun cavalry, not especially the very small map like this.
I mean, from the last match from SKT, we already know that SKT are really good with their cavalry.
Oh yeah, I don't
But
expect...
this time, YYY proved themselves.
YYY showed that they have superior usage of cavalry, especially against their match against AP in order to in the semifinals. I think it's going to be a real struggle to deal with cavalry without having the Sunward Phalanx available. It's quite difficult, I would say.
Wow! Congratulations, YYY! What a mind-blowing game they brought to us.
Yeah, I thought SKT would have a much stronger performance, but hit the ground running. YYY takes the first match, and quite convincingly. It wasn't. It didn't look like YYY were pushed back at all. They forced their
Absolutely.
way through the B section. SKT gives up on the
Hmm.
A point, got caught on the retreat, and when they started attacking for that supply point on the lower ground before marching on towards base, it looked like a pretty much done deal for SKT as they just kept losing ground.
Hmm. I hope they don't nerf companion cavalry after this match.
Companion cavalry, I would say, is probably one of the stronger ones, but nerf it? It's hard to say. I think companion cavalry feels like the most cavalry that we have, and it's hard. I'm not sure. Maybe nerfing it would probably be a better choice.
Longting is rich in products.
But
Great.
we're heading on to. I'm wondering
Yeah,
what kind of
let's
strategy
take a.
SKT is going to use in order to beat out YYY's. They're probably already expecting a lot of companion cavalry, so I don't think an infantry focused lineup is going to be wise for SKT.
Wow, from the YYY side, they bought 14 companion cavalry.
That is a lot of cavalry. Not to mention, I think someone also is bringing a one-winged hussar.
Hmm.
I'm wondering whether or
And
not
for the
that winged
SK
hussar is going to be
side,
very useful.
from the SK side, there are a lot of Iron Reapers.
Hmm. I think SKT is expecting an infantry battle, but I don't think they're quite ready to see what YYY is just going to bring out. Bit hasty
I like
on the
meats
selection, I
and stone.
believe.
Warlord, give me a holler if you know
Hmm.
any great weavers or masons.
I mean, if YYY take this match as well, it's gonna be extremely pressful for SKT.
Oh, for sure. Um, there's no doubt about it when you're losing two battles straight up to win three battles in a row, especially against a team that you have been fighting for at least like for a while now. Each of these battles can last up to 20 minutes. Can be quite exhausting. But we did get to see it between YYY and AP. YYY pulled it around, but this time YYY is leading. It would be kind of ironic if YYY leads in the first two matches and then SKT reverses it on them. But nevertheless, I do love to see both teams fight it out.
Great place to do business.
And it's good to see that YYY is definitely not not playing the underdog here. I do expect SKT to show us that they are the superior team, but it's still a question of whether or not they can. The unit matchup just seems to be in favor of YYY. They're going to have to deal with 14 companion cavalries. Let's see if
Wow.
the combination of halberdiers and medals can handle it. I don't think Iron Reapers fare well against cavalry. Normally, most non-anti-cavalry infantry just quite easy picking. There's not really much of a how to say. Yeah, there's not much of a contest between YYY and sorry. There's not much non-anti-cavalry units can do against cavalry. So once those companion cavalry starts rolling over the Iron Reapers, they will drop very fast. And companion cavalry deal a lot of damage, a surprising amount of damage. I think I've seen like damage numbers of like 10k or higher on companion cavalries, and that's against some pretty hardy stuff. But we're here on the A and the B side, both pushing simultaneously. SKT is doing a split push similarly to YYY. Whether or not YYY can hold one of the defenses is another question. Cavalry leads the way, sweeps up a halberdier unit, surprisingly. Super fast. I'm not sure what YYY was planning to do with this kind of half retreat. Does look like the B section is a good closeout for YYY. Now coming back to the counterforce from YYY. The pressure is on for YYY to get back towards the A point, but I think SKT is not giving them a chance as they just have their own cavalry just streaming through. Companions come through the backside, but there's just not any staying power for YYY. It's kind of, this is very desperate. We're seeing multiple cavalry coming through. Halberdiers are not set up, but they do manage.
Wow.
Whoa, a trade of companion cavalry is just straight onto the A point here.
Yeah.
I'm wondering what
Let's
kind
take
of strategy SKT is going to use in order to beat out YYY's. They're probably already expecting a lot of companion cavalry, so I don't think an infantry focused lineup is going to be wise for SKT.
Wow, from the YYY side, they bought 14 companion cavalry.
That is a lot of cavalry. Not to mention, I think someone also is bringing a one-winged hussar.
And
I'm
for the
wondering whether or
ISK
not that winged
side,
hussar is going to be very useful.
from the ISK side, there are a lot of Iron Reapers.
I think SKT is expecting an infantry battle, but I don't think they're quite ready to see what YYY is just going to bring out. A bit hasty on the selection, I believe.
I mean, if YYY take this match as well, it's gonna be extremely pressful for SKT.
Oh, for sure. There's no doubt about it when you're losing 2 battles straight up. To win 3 battles in a row, especially against a team that you have been fighting for at least like for a while now. Each of these battles can last up to 20 minutes. It can be quite exhausting. But we did get to see it between YYY and AP. YYY pulled it around, but this time YYY is leading. It would be kind of ironic if YYY leads in the first 2 matches and then SKT reverses it on them. But nevertheless, I do love to see both teams fight it out. And it's good to see that YYY is definitely not playing the underdog here. I do expect SKT to show us that they are the superior team, but it's still a question of whether or not they can. The unit matchup just seems to be in favor of YYY. They're going to have to deal with 14 companion cavalries.
Wow.
Let's see if the combination of halberdiers and medals can handle it. I don't think Iron Reapers fare well against cavalry. Normally most non-anti-cavalry infantry just quite easy picking. There's not really much of a how to say, yeah, there's not much of a contest between YYY and there's not much non-anti-cavalry units can do against cavalry. So once those companion cavalry starts rolling over the Iron Reapers, they will drop very fast. And companion cavalry deal a lot of damage. A surprising amount of damage. I think I've seen like damage numbers of like 10k or higher on companion cavalries, and that's against some pretty hardy stuff. But we're here on the A and the B side, both pushing simultaneously. SKT is doing a split push similarly to YYY. Whether or not YYY can hold one of the defenses is another question. Cavalry leads the way, sweeps up a halberdier unit, surprisingly. Super fast. I'm not sure what YYY was planning to do with this kind of half retreat. Does look like the B section is a good closeout for YYY. Now coming back towards the A point. They're kind of hard stopped here. The Iron Reapers are just killing that front line with the Madao backing them up. It's going to be a hard push through. But here comes some companion cavalry just leaping through. But a Winged Hussar coming out from SKT just clears out the counterforce from YYY. The pressure is on for YYY to get back towards the A point, but I think SKT is not giving them a chance as they just have their own cavalry just streaming through. Banyans come through the backside, but there's just not any staying power for YYY. It's kind of, this is very desperate. We're seeing multiple cavalry coming through. Halberdiers are not set up, but they do manage. Whoa, a trade of companion cavalry is just straight onto the A point here. It's just a mass. But it does look good for YYY. Huge sacrifice though. Oh, just taking a look at the unit score right now. Huge losses for YYY. I think they're gonna all in it. Whoa! And they charge out! They're not gonna give SKT any chances to reform at this point. But unfortunately, that supply point is a bit harder, a bit tougher than they thought that it was. They do retreat back inside Hailong Fjord. Both the A and the B point more than half captured right now. If they even let that A point get touched for maybe 4 seconds, that's a done deal. Gonna be instant victory for SKT. The unit losses for YYY just seems terrible. Actually, looking at the scoreboard, that's actually not as terrible as I thought it was going to be.
And the timing is not on SKT's side.
2 minutes would be difficult to say. Normally you'd like around about 3 minutes. Good 3 minutes, because fighting can take a while. They have plenty of resources though. They still have 16 artillery. Got less than 2 minutes to go though. Battle does kick off with an aggression from YYY. And that.
Wow, YYY lost all tier 5 units.
Sorry about that. Seems I disconnected for a little bit.
Welcome back.
Thank you. I did miss a little bit of that, but hopefully it wasn't that bad as I kind of struggle to come back. It does look like SKT has more units here on the A point, but I think the reinforcements from YYY is going to be able to hold just long enough with only 33 seconds to go. It's
Wow.
going to be that Wu Wei is going to whack everything off of this point right now. I think people are still complaining about the hero CC against the for the Wu Wei. Keeps knocking you back like crazy. Not fun at all to get knocked back continuously.
Wow. Congratulations,
There
YYY.
we have it. A
2 wins
strong
in a
performance
row.
from YYY, taking both the first and the second match.
Wow, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Can we take a look at the post?
It's at this point, I've been watching this entire the APAC region tournament, and I can definitely tell that the teams have just been getting better as time goes on. But when we hit the knockout phase, when we hit the semifinals, it definitely felt like teams were studying each other. They were trying to figure out how they normally play. And it definitely looks like they are trying to counter each other with their pick bans, with their unit setups. Whoever's got the better information, whoever's got the better matchup right now is the stronger team. And it does look like it's going to be YYY, unless SKT's got a backup plan. Which is very surprising. I think most people think that SKT was going to win. From what I heard is like apparently SKT is made up of some of the former members from CNC, otherwise known as Crusaders. Our 9-time champion, if I remember correctly.
Yep. There are a lot of veterans in SKT.
So yeah, they are tournament veterans. So it's great to see. It's great to see players come back again and again. Unfortunately, I don't remember their names that much. So I'm kind of sad that I don't study players in particular. It's just very difficult to concentrate on individuals when the team as a whole is working together to achieve victory, especially since there's so many different units out on the field. You don't know which unit belongs to who, so who's controlling which unit. It's very difficult to tell.
Yeah, absolutely. There are like 15 members.
15 players, 15 units. Which unit belongs to which player? But in the end, it's the teamwork between all of them that really shows off the spectacular gameplay of Conqueror's Blade. I definitely love Conqueror's Blade, and I'm excited to see more from these teams. On a more competitive level, that is. It's always exciting to watch CBL, because you get that kind of environment.
Absolutely. Okay, here we are.
Hidden City. This was picked by SKT, so I'm hoping. Oh man, Hidden City is notoriously open for a siege map. So I do expect Cavalry to kind of run wild a little bit more than what we saw from Heilong Fjord. Heilong Fjord is actually not great in some sections for Cavalry. Actually, the sea point itself is completely inaccessible for Cavalry. Obviously, the wall is as well, but YYY will probably be able to make use of that space if SAT can't concentrate or make YYY fight in a confined space. They're going to probably get shredded as the cavalry just comes in from too many different directions for them to handle. We do see their lineup kind of drop a little bit of the Iron Reefers, but I don't think it's going to be enough at this point. but we'll have to see. I'm excited to see if YYY does take a 3-0 off of SKT, but I'm also would be disappointed if SKT doesn't adapt and change up their strategy to deal with YYY, especially on their chosen
Mm-hmm.
map. Attacking Hidden City is not the easiest thing. I mean, not the easiest map to attack. I think Wolfort pretty easy to attack, but we're here on Hidden City. With YYY being 2-0, they need to just win this defense, and then they win the APAC championship. So, as you said before, the pressure against SKT now being 2-0 is would psychologically would just be extraordinarily heavy.
Absolutely. I don't see a lot of strategy changed for two teams. 15 companion cavalry from YYY.
It doesn't look like much changed at all. With like majority tier 4, a lot of companion cavalry. The units from SKT looks fairly similar. I don't think there's any major changes, which is actually kind of
No,
disappointing.
no. But SKT actually chose this map. So let's see if they have surprising strategy.
Well, I hope they do. I do think since YYY had a majority cavalry setup, they probably won't defend the wall. They kind of need their infantry to at least distract SKT for their cavalry to really pull through.
Absolutely.
Does look
I
like
think it's
YYY's using
psychological.
a lot of artillery to destroy the siege towers,
Mm-hmm.
but the middle siege tower did get up on the wall. This is a great delaying tactic. I think it would be wise for SKT to just go up the middle siege tower, since I don't think there's very much threat from YYY to actually defend. I know I normally say this in my when I do commentate for this, is that the middle siege tower is normally, I call it the Tower of Death, because if the defenders decide to defend a siege tower, going up it is an instant loss for the attackers. So choke point, and even if you try to treb the defenders, sometimes the trebs are not in the correct position, or sometimes it'll hit the siege tower. SKT does make a move up onto the wall, not wasting any time. Could easily deal with the men-at-arms here. A little bit far for the Imperial Pike Walk, but that men-at-arms will be cleaned up really easily. Kind of strange that YYY would commit. Oh, no, they did not go up that stairs. Looked like they wanted to, but in the end they didn't. As to be expected, they do take the SKT does take the wall fairly easily. We'll head into a artillery phase, is what I'm expecting. That's normally what happens, but maybe they'll throw us for a loop and change it up a bit.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the major things about cavalry is always just the speed. The time between the cavalry being pulled out and running towards the front is fairly short compared to, like, if you spawned in with infantry and just ran towards it. But a lot of times these teams are definitely using infantry at the start, and and you don't see very many cavalry out straight away. I mean, YYY probably only has 2 or 3 cavalry waiting, but it'll be very quick to see probably maybe 8, 9, or 10 of them just spawn out of these supply points and just trample over SKT once they hit the ground. Being locked up for a little bit with the infantry will be one of the most difficult parts about dealing with the defenders for SKT. We see a lot of artillery being deployed. A lot of mortars, in fact. YYY is doing a good job to avoid most of the fire. I don't think they took very much damage here.
Yeah, I think most of them were hit on the building.
Or it's out of range. Either hit the building or out of range. But it's also good to see that... Oh! Artillery is hitting this ISG, though. And they managed to treb one of the companion cavalry, surprisingly. Companion cavalries do have a large number, but still, losing any units, especially to... Well, basically for nothing. I mean, like, getting hit with artillery or trebs is quite a sad moment, as you just face the inevitable. Yeah. Oh, it's nice to see some longbows out on the field. I mean, I see a lot of people complaining about how longbow is useless, but longbow can be fairly effective, and it's great to see them here on the CBL. Their harassment, especially off of a height advantage, is unexpectedly terrifying. And I mean, like, just a few seconds, they'll kill maybe 1 or 2 of your units. Every one of your units is very important, and when it comes down to it, it is a numbers game. You gotta have better unit matchup. You gotta have more units than your enemy. SKT is taking this slow down the stairs. Mortar set down on the ground here, point blank. The heroes from SKT tries to destroy it. Does look like it's going to go down. I don't think it got too many good shots, but that could have been funny if YYY did go for a choke at the bottom of the stairs. Do look like they let SKT take this right-hand supply point. And I expect a little bit. This is quite the usual for a lot of the CBL matches when we get up to this high level, is both teams have basically already chosen their battleground in their mind. And so you see them sizing each other up nearly the entire time, shifting many troops around the place. We also have companion cavalry. Again, they grab the supply point, move back towards the center, and SKT lets the supply point on the right-hand side get taken again. This doesn't look good for SKT. It looks like they're going to get completely surrounded. Another question is just how well is SKT going to approach through the middle as well. Heavy shields at the front, getting peppered by the Zycalian militia. The rear is getting... Both the rear and the front has now fully engaged. Companion cavalry just swarming the back line. SKT halberdiers holding. Iron Reapers pushing through the front. That back line, surprisingly, the front and the back, they sacrificed a couple of units, but they pushed right onto this base point. YYY is coming in with companions from the side. but surprisingly gets intercepted by, I think, Claymores. Claymores eats the Storm Pound from the companions, and the companions just get cleaned up.
The bravest of the brave.
I think this is where just the sheer number of cavalry is just not going to work, as the unit advantage for
Deny our strength.
SKT just shifts dramatically towards SKT's favor here. An excellent job. Even with the surround, YYY didn't succeed in their first attack, but they're going to stream in another wave of cavalry, and Yanyudals, not Yanyudals, Wu Wei. There's Wu Wei Mansion Guards in the mix of there. So the Medals barely holding on right now, and the Halberdier is also barely holding on. We got a couple of Iron Reapers still in the mix, but they are slowly getting attrition down. I think SKT is going to have a respawn as they come streaming through the front gate. I didn't think that YYY would recover there.
A walk in the park.
But I can tell you right now, any unit advantage that YYY had is gone. I think it's going to be, I think SKT could trade, but it does look like they're trading up. Supply point also gets locked up. Companion Cavalry is doing a really good job, but YYY has more Companion Cavalries. They do take that supply point back. That Rattan Marksman should do a lot of work if they can keep it alive. Shooting into the beef section here. Heroes from SKT sacrifice themselves, trying to get on top. Whoa! A nice Shenji grenade right on top of the back line. YYY just converges and just beats out the SKT here. SKT just needs to relax and just stabilize. YYY is being super aggressive as they're trying to push their way straight through that those Medals. Treb in the center, only one gets through. YYY is definitely not giving SKT any breathing room as they actually manage to push them out of the city. This is going to... I think this is going to come down to just the heroes. The number of units from both sides is actually really low and of low quality. SKT does have the right-hand supply point. They're on it, and YYY doesn't look like they want to let them have it for long. Does back off. Sticking together is probably the smartest move SKT can do. They get picked off fairly easily when YYY has that much cavalry. But I don't think they have much cavalry now, since a lot of them just pretty much got killed.
And based on the unit, SKT has a lot of tier 1 units.
Just got to beat out just the leftover units from both sides, and it will come down to just tier 1 units. So I'm guessing it's going to be a hero battle for the finish. So taking a quick look, both sides have a couple of 2 deaths. So next death will be permadeath, but a couple of them do have one revive left. We have the Zykeeli Militia slowing down this push from SKT. The Rattan Marksman does get cleaned up, but slowly Imperial Pike March tries so much in, but I don't think YYY is looking good as just the tier difference was probably, well, probably not even just the tier difference, just right now the setup from SKT was stronger, and YYY looks to be pushed completely off of this point. Just one hero right now. Hero from YYY jumping around on this point, trying to survive, finally gets caught. Trebbing that section to Fort Braccio.
Child's play.
And that's what I mean. SKT, when it comes to a straight battle like that, they are the superior team. Even though it looked like they, both SKT and YYY had fairly similar numbers of units. I mean, my goodness. SKT held spectacularly well against the swarm of cavalry from YYY. I think YYY was over-reliant on the cavalry in this section and couldn't break through the setup from SKT. And this is what I love to see, is when teams adapt and figure out a way for victory. And it's great to see that SKT has done it, winning the battle off of YYY now. If they win their defense,
Absolutely.
which could quite be possible, we could be seeing a field battle. Just taking a look at the post-battle analysis. It did take a while for the first major battle to start, but when they did start fighting, they didn't relax for a second, because YYY is a very aggressive team. But yeah, I did expect it to go down to a hero fight. Didn't end up happening. That was not disappointing, but it was great to see. Great to see that both teams are pushing each other to the very end.
Yeah, absolutely.
Rich in cards, making the great
Wow, what an amazing match it was.
We've had a lot of exciting matches so far. First, the double battle on Hailong Fjord. YYY showing a pure dominance with the companion cavalry. Now, I think SKT has adapted, or maybe it's because
warlord.
this is their chosen map, and they know how to handle YYY's mass cavalry. Let's see if they can do it one more time to send this to a tiebreaker. I thought that maybe they selected too many Iron Reapers, but in the end, it does look like they selected the appropriate amount to handle YYY. And it was quite apparent that YYY's infantry game is not strong enough to hold against SKT, not to mention the surround cavalry. They need something to break open those formations for them, because a Madao or a Halberdier is extraordinarily costly to fight into, especially for cavalry. Cavalry will probably take the most damage out of any unit against those type of units. So,
Absolutely.
cost-effective trades
Yeah.
for SKT. I think YYY can adapt easily to deal with the formations. It's just whether or not their infantry game can be competent enough. It will be a struggle for
Absolutely.
YYY to get into the city, but once they're inside, cavalry can come in from multiple different lanes, which could make it difficult for SKT to find a way to concentrate YYY coming in from one direction. Otherwise, they'll be fighting a battle on multiple fronts. We see a lot of distraction plays, and when one side starts winning a lot, you'll see the wave just crash into the other side and wipe out both halves of the defense. So it's kind of like you win on one side, you lose on the other side. But if you win harder on one side, you can win on the losing side afterwards.
Okay, so we are gonna take a 3 minutes rest.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to take a rest.
Thanks. Oh, man. Unfortunately, I DC'd during the middle of that. That was really annoying and upsetting as well.
Warlord, give me a holler if you know of any Conquerors or Masons. I like neat square stone and packaged cotton.
Oh man, watching myself back here on this stream. I hope it's awkward. Yuan, by the way. If you're still here, Obi-Wan Kenobi, I'm so sorry I didn't listen. I didn't read your thing. It's yeah. Once you start, it's just like keeps going. They're rushing through these things, and I'm not getting a little downtime between matches here. Not to mention, like, I have no idea what to say sometimes between matches.
Yeah, a close match is what I expected. So maybe...
And when it comes down just to a fair few units, the unit matchups at the end are really important. I think one of the most important units in that mix was the Iron Reapers, or maybe it was the ISGs.
Mm-hmm.
Like all siege battles, we start off with the pushing of the siege tower phase. SKT brought out a... Oh, no, not SK. Oh, no. SKT did bring out a Falconetti gunner.
Lot of Iron Reapers.
Another... Yeah, they did bring a lot of Iron Reapers as well. They're definitely gonna win the infantry battle. The lot of... Oh.
And we can see the unit that they bring. Why? Still a lot of tier 4 units. Wow.
Sorry to leave you alone like that. I did DC again. It seems like my computer can't handle having me open a game, a stream, my stream, and a Zoom call. But hopefully I don't end up with a lot of technical difficulties again. But enough about that. Again, not surprised that the middle siege tower makes it up onto the wall. They only destroying the left and the right hand siege tower gives them a little bit of an opportunity, but it would be terrifying to go up the middle siege tower and the defenders want to defend it.
Absolutely. I don't think the strategy changed much. Because while I still bring a lot of tier 4 units.
Oh, for sure. I think they were unadapting because I think there's a couple of changes. We're not seeing like the 900 tier 4 units that we did see before. So there's been a couple of swap outs, but there's still a lot of companion cavalries, and it's one of the things where the team has a lot of cavalry, and it's really up to the defenders to decide well, I mean, if the defenders let them use their cavalry, it's going to be much more difficult to handle since you're on the defending side. You might want to fight on the wall, so you bring superior infantry. If you do comes down to a wall fight, if you have superior infantry, you'd normally win most of the time. So YYY committed so much resources for the companion cavalry is actually detrimental to them more than anything.
Mm-hmm.
So if they don't win the wall, this could spell disaster for their attack. But once they do hit the ground, they can definitely make use of that cavalry.
Well, I do hope we will get to see a field battle.
At the rate this is going, SKT could definitely win their defense and send it down to a tiebreaker. I love a grassland assault, but I'm also wondering whether or not the mass cavalry from SKT will show off their skills on a field battle, which is, again, quite open and allows cavalry to be used a lot more than siege battles. Alrighty. YYY easily takes the A point. Didn't look like SKT wanted to choke them off there on the siege tower, which, again, the defender's job, or again, path to victory is just delaying time. So they don't need to defend every point as long as they don't let the attackers take the last point.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very much expecting some SKTs to kind of walk around the front gate, but it would be strange not to see a push down the stairs from YYY, and it would mostly be infantry in that case. They could do a kind of sacrifice push where they kind of do a push where they're planning to die and then just stream through with cavalry, but it would be a wonder if that would be even worth it here on Hidden City, because the supply points are so close to the front gate as well.
Mm-hmm.
We're seeing plenty of artillery, quite classic to see in this phase. But the positions that SKT has taken is right underneath. They're kind of hiding. They're kind of hiding in the front gate here. Little pocket. I see not a lot of teams do this often, normally, because the attacking team does have an artillery just pointed down that way. They're rotating more units into that front gate. They really want to hold that front gate, which is a good move on their part. both of the stairs leads towards the front gate, and it's a hard turn towards the supply point. So they'll have to fight if they do plan to go down the stairs. The front gate is also completely packed, filled with units. So I don't think the front gate's a good option for YYY either. Oh, one thing I didn't consider is actually the far back stairs on the left-hand side. If we do see a rotation, SKT could be put in a really bad position if that supply point gets taken.
Wow, a lot of Iron Reapers.
Both sides have a lot of Iron Reapers, but the Wu Wei Mansion Guards can be a cost-effective answer to Iron Reapers. Massive amounts of damage reduction. We do see the push coming from SKT, keeping YYY off of this supply point. They did swing back. We have a contingent pushing towards the supply point and a contingent coming down from the stairs. Surprising to see some Shirt Diners doing a heal, but the heal hits a roof. SKT hits the tail of YYY's. Again, I don't sure why they wouldn't take the fight at the bottom of the stairs, especially since they got a surround. That Iron Reaper just bulldozes right through the attacking forces. A lot of battles on a lot of fronts right now, but the main force from SKT is winning so hard that the unit advantage is trickling down. I think once that main force clears up the supply point, moves on towards the base point, we'll see the massive lead of the natural tier 4s drop down to a few hundred, maybe tens even. YYY does the sacrificial push, does spawn in with companion cavalry. We have two companion cavalries coming up the rear of SKT. How devastating will their flank be? Clears up an Iron Reaper, gets stuck on a Medal though. Multiple angles, those Medals need to hold strong, but there's just a massive swarm of companion cavalries. They're just throwing them right in. I think the Medals have gone down. We've got Daggerag Lancers trying to push through. There's just a few Medals just left, actually still holding, surprisingly. The B point got captured in the meantime. I didn't even see that. YYY also taking the left-hand supply point. Just the leftover forces now from SKT's forward defense. SKT's probably going to reestablish themselves around base point, and as we could see, the lead has shrunk. Both sides have very similar numbers right now. I'm just wondering whether or not how many cavalry units are left for YYY. And the unit selection from SKT. Probably, I'm not sure which team is in a better or worse condition right now. Just looking at the. I think YYY might actually have an advantage. The units coming out does look strong. Got 3 Imperial Pike Guards. We got, funnily enough, a Rattan Marksman. A little bit of peppering should do. Oh. SKT still has the Falconetti Gunners still available for them. It's a long walk towards the base point. And if those Falconetti Gunners can start firing now, but doesn't look like SKT's in position. They were expecting another section of Trebs. Another artillery phase.
Wow,
Trev comes in a
nice
bit
trap.
late, doesn't hit very much. Imperial Pike walks starting off. Look at the number of marches. We have 5 different Imperial Pike Guards pushing forward. It looks like it's the Iron Reapers holding. And this is the fight that SKT wants, a direct fight. But it does look like the edge for YYY is showing. Iron Reapers and ISG, just the things that are really holding it for YYY on the push. But the Halberdiers barely surviving. Lots of depth for SKT, but here comes the companion cavalry. Gets stopped by what seems to be a musket bomb or something or other. The respawn from SKT from base could be very important as we're coming down with just surf units. 2 Iron Reapers left for YYY, pushing towards the base point now. We could see some respawns from YYY also coming through. We do, in fact, as companion cavalry just rocks up. Where is the respawn from SKT? It feels a little bit late since only 6 of them alive right now. I guess those Iron Reapers are a bit more difficult to deal with than I thought.
Wow.
YYY did not wait and just went straight for it. And it did look like they started off great. And they're ending it strong. SKT has 3 minutes to hold, but they are dying like flies. And unit superiority is absolute here on the base point for YYY. The Glaive's doing a good job, but he's now swarmed. Another companion cavalry jumps in, but onto a Madao, drops dead.
It's a suicide mission.
Pretty foolish ambition, but you gotta try sometimes. When you're the last one alive, trying to get to that base point.
Crazy.
And it goes against predictions as well. YYY taking the 3rd battle and winning as our champions for the APAC tournament. I'm not sure about you, but I thought SKT was going to win. And to see the upset, or like the kind of underdog win, I would say underdog in this case, is quite surprising. But that's also why these competitive tournaments are always so great. You never know what to expect until it happens.
Absolutely. I was surprised as well. We have a champion.